Hey everyone, it's Nat. Hey everyone, it's Nat here. I'm really excited to do a live with everyone, and I'm gonna start by sharing my screen. But it's really cool to see Gladwin. We've got Lesalia. There's Nick joining. We've got Pavia, Edmund, the Thinker. Hey Nancy. Abunia is here. Lils is here as well. This is just a quick, well, I say quick, but it's probably going to be like 2 hours on let's like just try something new on NextWork together. So we've got Roger Oliver as well. Mount Fujin is here. Hi, Jin. It's been a while. Kwok D, I think, is here as well. Yeah, so super excited to get going. What we're going to do today is I think we're just going to have some fun on NextWork to generate a project and try see what we can do in the next like 2 hours. I'm super excited about this. So if you haven't checked out NextWork before, the link to that is at learn.nextwork.org. I'm going to paste that in the chat so everyone can jump in. And today, maybe what we could do is create a project from scratch. Let's say we got inspired by a podcast that we watched, and we really want to actually create a project out of it. So in a new tab, you might be familiar with with a channel on YouTube called How I AI, and this is one of many, but it's a really cool podcast that gets people actually talking about how they use AI in their daily lives and how they use it in their workflows. So for today's project, I was thinking we could actually pick a topic from How I AI and try generate a project from it. So that's going to be our challenge together. But I wanted to say a big hi to Dan. I remember you from yesterday as well. So 2 days in a row. Hello, hello. We've got Amin as well and Nguyen here. So welcome to today's live. Zach is here as well. What's up, Zach? Cool to see you 2 days in a row. All right. So I'm here right now in How I AI. I'm thinking, I don't really know which topic we want to go for, but these 9 are pretty fun to start with. There are some projects on building an iPhone app with 0 technical skills, clone myself with Gemini Omni in 15 minutes. Oh, do we want to do an AI avatar? A Claude shopping assistant to stop buying cheap junk. How I write AI agent loops. Evals, maybe we can write some evals in today's project. Maybe we could create a workflow inspired by the engineer behind Claude Cowork, some Codex work, or maybe something to do with Claude Opus. But there's so many project info that you can find online, so we could perhaps get one of these going. Whoa. All right. I feel like just from looking at this, it might just be down to Gemini Omni, because this one's done in 15 minutes, an AI avatar. And then this one is an AI agent loop, which I feel I actually don't really know what's going on with AI agent loops right now. So I'm keen to learn this as well. What do we think? I think it might just be between these two. I know Zach is saying, what's up? And Hermes. I know Hermes is cool. I was thinking about Hermes too, but I was really keen that for today's project, we'll do something that's actually podcast inspired. Like if there's a podcast episode about it, we'll learn together how we can turn a podcast episode into a hands-on project on NextWork. Hermes next time, hopefully. Yeah, we can save Hermes for your episode, says Nancy. I will be very keen to see how the Hermes expert does it. Thank you. Zach says it's okay, Nat. All right, so it's down to these two guys. Should we do a project on AI agent loops or one on creating AI avatars with Gemini Omni? Do we have any votes in the chat? In the meantime, a big welcome to Kython. There's Somyaran. Ans is in the chat today. We've also got Nume in the chat as well. Good to see everyone. All right. I don't think we have, we might not have a vote yet in the chat. All right, so in that case, I've never actually created an AI avatar, so this one could be fun. Oh, Zach says agent loop. Okay, we're gonna do an agent loop today, guys. So let's jump into AI. Whoa. And let's see what we can do in turning this podcast episode today into um, whoa, look at this, into a project. Okay, oh, there's a summary here. Learn how to move beyond basic prompting by designing automated agent loops through demonstrations in Codex and Claude Code. Discover how to implement heartbeat schedules, cron jobs, and goal-oriented workflows to enable AI agents to manage tasks independently, maintain clean workspaces, utilize sub-agents for specialized assignments. Okay, so why don't we copy this YouTube link, and I'm back in NextWork. And here at the bottom, we can describe what we want to learn or build. So I'm going to say, I want to learn how to do this myself. Saw this cool video about AI agent loops. Okay, paste link. And I'm going to switch from search over to generate. All right, so what do we think? Let me check out that video and research AI agent loops to understand what you're interested in building. Okay, so straight away, we're going to be doing some research. In the meantime, we can check out this video. Mm, mm, okay. Okay. Oh, we can't hear the video? Okay, thank you. I'm just going to try share this one more time. Okay, does this work better? Okay. The jury is out that we can't hear the video. That's okay. I was like, oh, okay, this video is interesting because you can actually use this video to learn how to write AI agent loops in Claude Code and Codex. And she was talking about how we can start with writing prompts in kind of in normal human speak first before we go into creating loops with it, which is the more advanced thing to do. What we're going to do is, honestly, the video itself seems interesting. Like the what you'll learn looks like a great summary. I'm now interested to bring this into the project guide. So what has the project guide tried work out on its own so far? I'm going to zoom in so everyone can see this clearly. Oh, nice. So our project generator has watched the video already and researched a topic. That's Claire Vaux's episode on How I AI, where she breaks down AI agent loops in Claude Code and Codex. That's true. She covers 4 loop types: heartbeat, cron, hook, and goal, builds a daily PR reviewer, and a skills identification loop with sub-agents. Here's what I'm thinking for you. The video covers using pre-built agent tools like Claude Code, routines, Codex automations, but if you want to learn how to do this yourself, the real foundational skill is building the agent loop from scratch. This means implementing the REACT pattern, which stands for reason, act, observe, repeat, and code, where your agent calls an LLM, decides if it needs a tool, executes the tool, feeds the result back, and loops until it's done. I designed a project where you build a working AI agent from scratch in Python, no frameworks like LangChain. You'd implement the core loop, wire up real tools, add memory, and include guardrails to prevent infinite loops. By the end, you'd have a genuine agent that reasons and acts autonomously. This is the exact pattern underneath Claude Code, Codex, and every agent framework. That sounds pretty advanced, team. It's kind of like, hey, instead of getting something out of the box, why don't you just like do the whole thing from scratch? Which I think could be quite fun. My biggest concern is that we don't end up having enough space or time to actually use it and create outputs with it. Like we spend so much time just making sure the loop works that we don't actually get to that we don't actually get to use it to produce useful things. So I think my first question is like, how long would it take to create this from scratch versus using Claude Code? Zach in the chat says, the loop should take like 15 minutes, in my opinion. Okay, good to know. Sumya Ranjan says, I can't hear anything. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear Nat talk? I have paused the video, so we're not playing the video anymore. Okay, let's see. If we use Claude Code routines, oh, can anyone else hear me talk? It sounds like okay, cool. Zach says Zach can hear me. Okay, Mount Fujin can hear me. Nick can hear me. Awesome. Perhaps Sumiranjan, we can try like see if we can. I will check whether I'm muted for you by any chance, or whether your system audio is low by any chance. Maybe I should type this out though. Maybe we can try turn on our system's audio. Or maybe Nat is muted for you, which would be wild, but it is possible. So let's see. I hope you get to hear me soon. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is we are going to actually just use the built-in Claude Code routine first, because sometimes when you get super excited about doing something from scratch, you kind of lose sight of like the forest. You're like so in the trees, you don't really know like, wait, what is this all for? Like, how is this even useful for me? I think today we can try to do something that's out of the box first, see that it's useful, and then if we actually like what we created, see whether we can actually build something from scratch. So let's use Claude Code routines today instead. Let's use Claude Code routines. So the focus is on how we can utilize agents over creating something from scratch. Oh, sorry, how we can utilize agent loops over creating something from scratch. I would like to follow what Claire did in her podcast episode. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Exciting.
I'm just gonna steal
it. Okay, so let's focus on using Claude Code routines to build automated agent loops. Following Claire's approach, let me research the current state of Claude Code routines to make sure I design this accurately. I'm excited because I've never used Claude Code routines before. This is very, very new to myself. I don't know if anyone in the chat sees Claude Code routines. Oh, and Zach has a great suggestion. Zach says, Nat, it'll be cool to see you build a loop that will be useful for you in your daily function. Maybe something around reaching out to candidates based off of notes from your previous interactions with them, or something to that effect. Totally. Yeah, I was thinking of that. Zach is also referencing the fact that I'm actually spending a lot of time doing recruitment for NextWork at the moment. So recruitment for engineering, recruitment for all different kinds of roles as we grow the team here in Austin. Yeah, I wonder what are some repetitive things that I do. Definitely sourcing. So that could be a fun one to try automate. Requirements I need to verify with you. Okay, whoa. Do we have a Claude subscription? Do we have a Pro or Max subscription? Yes, I do. GitHub repository routines work by cloning your GitHub repos. Do you have a GitHub account with at least one active repository that has open PRs or recent activity? Claire used her chat PRD app repo. Oh, do routines only work in GitHub repos? Interesting. We don't really have a GitHub repo for it that we can use yet, but maybe I can use a GitHub repo that we've got for NextWork's marketing site. perhaps you could use that. It just means it's going to be slightly distracting from a loop that I actually use in my daily function. Connectors. Claire's routines sent Slack messages. Do you have any external tools you'd want Claude to post to, Slack or Linear? Or should we keep it simpler and have it create GitHub comments or PRs instead? I like the Slack Linear thing. You know what? I actually have Slack. It's not really used within the NextWork team, but I just have it because it's useful for speaking with like other folks. So maybe we will just actually post to Slack as a secret mission. What kind of work do you do? This matters because the best loop is the one that solves a real recurring task for you. Claire had aging PRs to babysit. What's a repetitive task in your workflow that you'd like to automate? PR reviews, dependency checks. Okay. This is quite exciting, guys. Well, the first thing is I do have a Claude Max subscription ready to go. Subscription ready to go. Second thing is, no, I don't have an active repo that's relevant to a daily workflow I want to automate today. Connectors, Slack seems cool. Slack or Linear, both seem cool. I still think for our secret mission, we can try use Slack. For our secret mission, we could try sending Slack messages. Let's see how that goes, team. And then what kind of work do you do? I do a lot of recruitment. I do that. I do recruitment, which includes sourcing and outreach. What else do I do? I run technical interviews. Oh, documentation is something I really want to do. Documentation. I also write a lot of documentation, how-to guides internally. Do you know one thing I really want to do is have like an ongoing tracker of all the subscriptions we pay for at NextWork. Because like that is one thing where I manually currently will update each member of the team like, hey, by the way, we just paid for another year of this tool. Do we actually need it? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh. It would be nice if I had a heads up before there's any renewal, before there is any like sort of like big bucks that we're gonna pay for a tool, that I can automatically just ping people before the renewal date. Like that's one thing I really want to do, be able to do. So maybe I'll just add that and see which one could be more fun to try automate today. I also try to keep track of the entire team's subscriptions that we pay for. Looks like we've got multiple people with audio issues today. So RJ, hi, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining. So sad. I'm like real sad to hear that there's still no audio working for RJ. I wonder if it's because I'm muted for certain people, but it takes a couple of steps to get there. Takes a couple steps to specifically mute net in the server. The subscriptions idea is cool, says Nume. Thank you so much, Nume. Okay, so our project generator is getting extremely excited now. Oh, that is great context. Since you don't have an active dev repo, we'll create one specifically for this project. Here's my thinking: project direction, automate your team subscriptions tracking. That is actually an underrated thing that I do for the team, which is a lot of like finance ops. So in fact, it will be quite nice to see how we might actually try to automate some of this stuff, because it's one of those things that I try to do like in the evenings, but maybe this will free up some time of my daily life. So you'll create a GitHub repo, seed it with your team subscription data, tools, costs, renewal dates, owners. That's exactly what I drew up in my notebook today. I was like, my dream is I have this like specific thing in Notion, and it just has like literally the tool name, how much we're paying for it, when is it going to get renewed, and then like the person's card that it's associated to, who's the owner. And then build 2 routines that demonstrate different loop patterns from Claire's episode. We can do a scheduled cron loop, a weekly subscription audit that flags upcoming renewals, potential savings, creates a GitHub issue. I've never seen GitHub issues getting created for for subscriptions, but that's cool. A more complex loop with sub-agents, a documentation freshness checker that spawns sub-agents to validate each doc's accuracy. Is it accuracy or accuracy? And flag stale content. Wire up the Slack connector can be our secret mission for today. So this maps perfectly to Claire's onboarding and employee mental model. You're basically saying every Monday, subscription assistant reviews our tools, flag what's expiring, and tell me what needs attention. That's a loop. One thing I need to confirm is, do you have a GitHub account? Routines require connecting a GitHub repo. If you don't have one yet, no worries. I do have a GitHub account. Thank you. Man, I like that it checks, doesn't it? I really do appreciate that. I appreciate that there is some sort of checking here on whether or not I have one. What I would appreciate though is like in this flow, I would appreciate if there were 2 ideas, one for recruitment and one for subscription tracking, we could actually have them side by side. And then I can pick the one that I want to use, that I want to do. Yeah, interesting. RJ is saying, and DXJ are saying that there is no audio that they can hear from me. And DXJ says, all I can see is the cursor moving. Aw, really sad to see all these audio issues happening in today's live stream. I wonder where it's, I'll just type here so you guys can see this. Maybe I can change an input device. Yeah, I feel like the microphone setup looks correct. Does anyone have any suggestions for what's going on here for the audio? Okay, I will also change my mic if we keep seeing this happen. And I'll have a test of what's going on afterwards. Okay, does this help as well? I've also just changed the mic profile, just in case it helps. All right, thank you so much, team. Okay, so since I have a GitHub account, we're set up. So we'll create a GitHub repo, seed it with our team subscription data and a few internal docs, then build 2 working routines at Claude.ai code routines that demonstrate the core loop patterns from Claire's episode. And it says, routine 1, cron loop, a weekly subscription audit that checks for upcoming renewals, flags potential savings, and creates a GitHub issue summarizing what needs attention. A documentation freshness checker that spawns sub-agents to validate internal docs for staleness. Okay. Connect Slack and have your subscription audit post. Okay. Well, I wish there were actually even more probing questions like, heads up, how do we plan on gathering all the subscription data, right? Because I don't have a single database yet, maybe just a bunch of transaction histories. Oh yeah, thanks Mount Fujin for letting DXJ know that we do have a live stream that's going on right now at the same time. So I'm gonna grab the link to that live stream and paste that in the chat so that DXJ has access to it too. So I'm just gonna copy that and paste that in the chat. Paste. Okay, so good question. Says our project generator. You'll create a structured file in the repo like a subscriptions JSON or a markdown table and manually populate it with your team subscription info. I don't know if we like that. I feel like manually. Think of it like the spreadsheet you'd hand a new employee on their first day. The routine's job isn't to gather the data, it's to review it on a schedule and surface what needs attention. That's the loop. Every Monday, review it and flag what's expiring in the next 30 days and tell the team. The employee doesn't build the database, they analyze what's there. Fair enough. I think a dream state for something like this is that we can actually use that loop to automatically grab any new subscriptions that the team subscribe to without any sort of manual update. That would be nice. But given that we are just starting out today, I'm happy for this to be our base, and then maybe create another loop for exporting all of our subscription data live in another project. So that feels manageable. We'll take it. We'll take it. And we'll see what the outline is. I haven't used Claude Code in a while, by the way. I feel like now's the time to confess that Nancy's probably used Claude Code way more than me over the last week, and she's gonna see Rusty Nat on Claude Code today. I'm quite excited though. It's nice to jump back into Claude Code. What do we think about this project today, guys? I hope it's useful for everyone because I do feel that subscription management is something that's easy to slip. That, as well as not only like subscriptions we pay for, but also email subscriptions even. Like I appreciate Gmail because they recently, I don't know if it's recent, but there's now a tab you can go to in Gmail that gives you a list of all the newsletters or the subscriptions that have you on their subscription list, like you're on their subscribe list, and you can actually on that one page go unsubscribe, 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 and just keep doing that for anyone that you don't really want to get any more emails from. And then it's useful because for every provider that has you on their subscription list, they even tell you in the last 30 days how many times have they emailed you as a proxy for like, is that too much? And I think I remember once when I checked, they even tell you how many of those have you actually opened, which is pretty confronting. You're like, wow, I actually have not been reading this newsletter. Or like, hey, I actually didn't even know that this random tool that I gave my email to access like some sort of nice PDF 4 years ago still has me on their subscription list. Like, let me just unsubscribe myself. I quite like that. I quite like that new feature in Gmail. It helped me clean up my inbox pretty quickly. Okay, so let's have a look. I think we're generating a project outline. So this is usually the part of the process that takes a little bit longer. But I do appreciate seeing this thought process. Whoa. There's 6 things in this thing. What are the chances we have 6 steps? What do we think? Oh no, this is not really relevant to 1%. Okay. In the meantime, while we've got a little bit more time, I am actually curious about like what are some of the things that are covered in the episode that inspired this all. Oh, interesting. This is something new I didn't notice. The 5 things every effective loop needs: work trees, skills, plugins, connectors, sub-agents, and state tracking. Roger Oliver asks, are you guys still recording the sessions? We sure are. We record them on YouTube because the live stream automatically gets saved. So great shout. And yes, we do. And brought to you by Work OS. Oh, cool. Nice sponsors. And then, okay, great. All right. Oh, our project plan is ready. What do we think? Okay, let's go have a look. So here is our project plan for the day. Okay, so our project outline, 45 minutes, cost 0 because it's included in our Max subscription. That's pretty sneaky, but it's true. 1 is set up your team operations repo, build your first routine, weekly subscription audit, and then build a sub-agent routine, which is our documentation freshness checker. I actually still don't know what this documentation freshness checker is going to do. Like I feel like I'm clear on the subscriptions audit, but I don't feel clear about what this freshness checker, how it's going to do what it's going to do. So I'm suspicious. I'm happily suspicious about number 3. And then number 4 is iterate and refine your loops. Our secret mission is that we're going to connect Slack and have the subscription audit post a weekly summary directly to a channel. So we're going to have 2 autonomous agent loops running on Anthropic's cloud infrastructure, performing real operational work for your team on a recurring schedule, proving you can design and deploy the same agentic automation patterns that Claire demonstrated. One note, routines are currently in research preview. This feels new. Oh, I really like that we're doing something so new that it's still in research preview. Okay, so the UI might shift slightly, but the core patterns and concepts are stable. I verified everything against the current official docs. Oh, say less, create the project. And voila, off we go. We're about to create the project now. I'm so excited. In fact, it looks like a live project link is already ready. I'm gonna see what it looks like if I were to open that link from incognito. Is that gonna mess things up, or oh, it says page not found? Yeah, because I haven't actually created the project yet. It might take a little bit of time before it gets created, but it's cool. We're on researching now. Building. I'm so curious. I wonder what the title is going to be. That was in the chat, wasn't it? The title of today's project. In the meantime, DXJ has a great question. DXJ says, what are we working on today, by the way? Today the theme of today is we're using a podcast episode to generate a project from scratch. And so the project topic we decided on is using agent loops to try automate a daily workflow. So the cool thing about agent loops is that they actually can work autonomously. So you don't need to trigger it every single time you want it to run. It can run on an automated schedule. It can run based on a trigger that you've set. And hopefully today we can automate the way that we check for subscriptions that are about to renew and make sure that we are canceling things we don't need, so that we're saving money. Cool. Roger Oliver says, Nat, question. Would you guys be keen to have a session project to install a cybersec tool and from it get insights, as well as see how is AI now using such tools in real companies? I know it's out of topic, just thought it would be interesting. Roger Oliver, I am so excited about that. A cybersec tool. I really enjoy the cybersec crowd that's growing in the community. You know, Zach instantly comes to mind. Shane does as well, and so does Nikhil. Like people that are very interested in cybersec tools. In fact, Roger Oliver, is there a specific tool that comes to mind? comes to mind that you want to work on together? That sounds interesting. And in the meantime, you can see that we're 3 out of 9 through for generating our project. Wow. Just thinking out loud, it would be nice if we knew what the 9 stages are up ahead, because I am very curious why there are 9 stages, and what do those 9 stages each do. I can see it's not really visible yet, and there's no like ETA on when it will be finished. So ideally, there is some sort of like estimated time of arrival. Like if we were to order fast food from McDonald's, like I always appreciate if they tell me like, oh, expect it to come in like 15 minutes. And I'm like, okay, good to know. And you know, it would be nice if there was an ETA here actually. Okay, so I do really like that we get to see the project as it gets generated. So our title today is Automate Team Ops with Cloud Code. We're going to build 2 autonomous agent loops that audit subscriptions and docs. And here's our summary. Oh, wow. Oh, there's quite a decent bit that's been generated. Okay. This summary is saying every team has tasks that repeat like clockwork. Sure does. Checking which subscriptions are about to renew, making sure internal docs are still accurate, flagging tools that nobody owns. These jobs matter, but they drain hours every week. In this project, you will build 2 autonomous agent loops using Claude Code routines. Okay. So by the end of this project, we're going to have a GitHub repo structured for agent automation. One performs a subscription audit, a cron loop, and the other one would check for documentation freshness. It's a sub-agent loop. That's why we're doing 2, so that we can try out 2 ways to create loops. Practical experience with agent loop patterns and the core skill of writing precise prompts that produce consistent, high-quality autonomous output. Then for our secret mission, we can connect Slack and have your subscription audit post a weekly summary directly to a channel. Okay, quite excited. I'm like, wait, this is exactly what I reflected on what I wanted to do this morning over like a hojicha, you know, like a matcha variant. Does anyone else drink hojicha in the chat? Okay, so what are we doing in this project? Oh, I can't click on this yet. I can't click into this task yet because the full project's not fully generated. But I really want to click into this step 0 task and give it an answer. It's okay, we can wait. All right, in the meantime, the DXJ says, I was actually working on making a security operations center agent, SOC agent, which helps in analyzing logs and other things. I want to make a production grade. Would you like to work with that? Whoa, I think that was a reply to Roger Oliver, so I wonder what Roger thinks. Mount Fujin says, is this the first time trying out this feature, or there were past live sessions that have completed the generated projects? Oh, great question. And yes, there are. Yes, there are past live sessions that completed the entire projects. Definitely, yeah. So each member of the team takes turns generating projects live and completing them in our session. And so John, Maximus, and William have completed their projects. And we actually recorded those, and they're in the recordings are on YouTube too. On YouTube as well. Awesome. Oh yeah, DXJ follows up on the SOC agent suggestion. It's like a smart SIEM analyzer, SIEM standing for Security, Information, and Event Management. Awesome. Okay, team. Look at this. I think the project is done. So I'm gonna check the generated project in the chat so that everyone can just jump in and check out the project steps. But you were here with me when we were just prompting this project from scratch, and now a full project guide has been generated. In fact, you can even jump in and look at the guide yourself and see whether or not you like to do it alongside myself for the next hour. But yeah, that was really fun. That was super, super fun. I like having a little preview of the steps. So why don't we have a look at the steps together? We have 4 main steps today. 1 secret mission before we clean up. And step 1 says we're going to set up the operations repository. A routine reads files, analyzes data, and takes actions. So we're going to create a GitHub repo that's full of team subscription data and internal documentation. Okay, great. Awesome. So we're going to even create a repo, and it looks like there's going to be some fake data that's going to be created for us. LinkedIn Recruiter, Notion, Loom. I like that these tools are actually pretty on point because we do pay for LinkedIn and Notion and Figma, Slack. Yeah, we actually pay for all of these right now. So that's pretty on point. And once we create that, there's also some internal documents we're going to mock. I really appreciate this, like that there are some documents that we can already put into our repo. Okay. Oh, wow. And there's even wait, what is this? Outreach templates. Oh, cool. Oh, wow. Example documents on our sourcing playbook. Wow. All right. Including outreach templates, like email templates for reaching out to people. Man, not bad, not too shabby. Okay, so we're really creating a lot of docs right now. We're building out this repository to start with. And then once that's created, we finally go into Cloud Code routines. So we're going to build our first agent in step 2, which is a cron loop. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so excited because I've genuinely never gone to this website before. I hope it actually exists, claude.ai/code/routines. I'm just going to sneaky check this because if it doesn't exist, we might just need to update our project fast. It exists. Has anyone used routines? I'm so new to this. Has anyone used routines in the chat? This is so cool, guys. We're about to do something so new. Okay, and then we're gonna trigger a routine. Okay, it looks awesome. And then the third one is like another routine we're about to create from scratch together. Okay, cool. Oh, wow. All right, I feel good about this project that we just generated together. Hey, Roy's in the house, by the way. Roy, I see you. Welcome. We've also got 89 Lakes that joined us. Hi, 89 Lakes. We are doing a project on agent loops right now. We just generated it, and we're actually just doing a quick scan of it right now before we get started. And then we can iterate and refine on our loops in the last step. Okay, this looks like pretty detailed stuff that might only make sense once you're in the weeds. So, okay, interesting. So our secret mission is that we're going to connect to Slack for live notifications, which I'm excited about. I wanted to see how it summarizes things for me. Okay, well, I am like a 5 out of 5, like excited about this project right now. So why don't we jump straight into step 0 and get going in creating these agent loops. So in this project, I'm building 2 routines that automate 2 of my weekly workflows. One on subscription renewal checking, and the other on updating internal team documents. Agent loops are more powerful than manual prompting because I do wish this was this was explained before we have to talk about it, but luckily we know this off the dome. Agent loops are more powerful than manual prompting because they can be triggered on an automated schedule, i.e. running even in our sleep. Okay, awesome. So my work's been updated. Hey, it's on dark mode today, my documentation. And share the work because we only have one validation shared right now. I mean, one task completed right now. But I am pretty proud of it already. I probably don't deserve it. Haven't earned it yet, but I am already proud of my work. So I'm going to copy this link and paste that here. So that's my live documentation that's now growing. And you can follow along the journey with every single task we complete. In the meantime, Roy says, I love loops, clock codes, and sleeping during while they're running. Yeah, same here. Mount Fujin says, amazing seeing NextWork's growth and future features. There's no paid subscription. So Mount Fujin, you can actually jump in and generate your own project for free right now. I highly recommend giving this a go so that, yeah, none of this is gated behind a paywall. So go crazy. Go crazy. Everything on NextWork is free. Awesome. So I'm going to jump back into our project and let's set up the team operations repo right now. So in this step, I'm setting up a GitHub repository. You know what though? You know what I'm thinking? Why do we need a GitHub repository for routines? I don't think that was fully explained yet. I kind of wish there was a bit more of an explanation on why we needed a repository. Like this sentence. This sentence deserves a little why. We kind of know the what though. In this step, I'm setting up a GitHub repo since that is how Claude Code routines do Can Net spell autonomous? Yes. Maybe. Yes. I can spell autonomous. This is how Claude Code routines do. I can't spell do though. Do autonomous work. So that we shall seed our repo with subscription data and internal documentation. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm gonna click done. Some great suggestions in the chat in the meantime. Oh wow, Roger is following up on the idea about a cybersec tool. Everyone check that out because some great suggestions are in there. In fact, I'm gonna tag Zach and say, I thought you might find this interesting. Yeah. And then Nancy had a great suggestion around, can you ask the ask feature? Legend. Nancy is an NextWork expert. And Roy suggests it's always best practice. Yeah. I wonder why. Okay, ask. Why is it best practice to have a GitHub repo to use Claude Code routines? Let's ask that, and then let's march on while we figure out the answer to that. Let's create a new GitHub repo in the meantime. So we're going to open our browser and head to GitHub. So I'm going to open that in a new tab. In fact, I'm going to open it in split view. You want to see something cool? Bam, split view. GitHub on the other side of the screen, just like that. I love split view. Okay, in the upper right corner of any page, click the plus icon, then click New Repository. All right, I'm gonna click New Repository. In the repository name box, yes, type Team Ops. Team Ops, Hey, team ops. And then I am the owner, so I'm gonna click Natasha on is coding and set the visibility to public. All right, and everyone can access it. It's us. Actually, can't we? I think we can actually switch that to private. Will we run into an issue if it's private? I don't think so. I'm going to switch this to private. The reason why I think it's good practice to make it private is because this is a subscription tool. People are about to upload their subscription data. Might want to keep that private instead of public to everyone. So let's see that. Let's see if we can do that. And we need to select add a README. So add README file, we actually want to turn it on. Last step is we click create the repository. Awesome. Love this. Okay, this looks good. Kind of think a description could be useful here. So let's just chuck one in. This repository stores the NextWork teams, NextWork teams subscription data and internal documentation. Ooh. Okay, create the repo. Okay, cool. While it's doing that, we're going to learn a bit more about that question we had about why GitHub repos in the first place. Oh, okay. So because we're using Claude Code and routines is kind of like a feature of Claude Code, it looks like having a GitHub repo is considered best practice for safety and reversibility. Claude Code has the power to run terminal commands and make structural changes to your file system. So a Git repo is a great safety net because it has such good version control and version history functions, I'd imagine. You can instantly roll back roll back changes. That makes sense. And also, GitHub repos do come with a lot of features that enable AI and humans to work together on changes. For example, in GitHub, you can create things like pull requests that make sure that changes have to be reviewed by someone else before they can actually go into prod, or like before the changes can be finalized. I'd imagine that also makes GitHub repos, or like just repositories in general, lend themselves very well to AI workflows, so that because there are all these built-in reviewing functions, your AI agent wouldn't just like run wild and just make changes without you knowing. Makes total sense. Cool. I'm glad we learned that along the way. Thanks, Nancy, for suggesting that we use the ask feature there. Okay, so we've created our repository. Ta-da! TeamOps is now a repository on GitHub. So we're going to press the command space, because I'm using Mac, to open my search bar, and let's open up our terminal. Yo, I've opened my terminal in a new window. Okay, and this is where we say sayonara to our beautiful split view, because I'm afraid this triple view might be a bit cracked, unless we like a triple view. What do we think, team? Do we like having the terminal as a third window in the same, a third like tab in the same window? Or is this a bit much? What I will do actually is I'll see if I can swap these two around. Hold on. Separate the tabs. Okay, now the project guide is in the middle, so at least. And then I can squeeze my GitHub view. Like, can I squeeze it to the side, guys? Is that possible? Team? Maybe not. Oh my God. Oh, all right, there we go. Okay, so now let us move to our desktop by running this command. Okay. So I'm going to move us to our desktop. I'm going to zoom in to make this easier for us to see. And then let's run this command, which takes our terminal to the desktop. You can run pwd always to check whether you're in the right place. And it says desktop, so we know we are in the right place now. Great. And let's go ahead and clone our repository by running this command, git clone github.com, and then enter in your GitHub username. It is Natasha Ong is coding. That's my GitHub username. And paste that here. We should be cloning tmops now. Ooh, I think we have cloned into tmops. We can actually go into our desktop probably to see that. Oh, and we have, I've just opened up my desktop to double check, and you can see tmops is a new folder. So that looks great. Now we can navigate our terminal into tmops. So we use the command cd to do that. And confirm the repository was cloned by running this ls. You should see README listed in the output, and we sure do. And we sure do. Ariane asks, what's this project about? Oh, I will send you the link to the project if you'd like to check it out. Absolutely. Welcome, by the way. Good to see you. And we'll create some data now to put into our repo. So we'll create a new file called subscriptions.json in the tmops folder. Hey, well, ideally our instructions actually tell us how to do that, how to create this. But I am keen to do this in Cursor today. So I'm going to open up Cursor and open up our I'm going to use Cursor to open up the project, so it's very easy to create new files. I feel like the terminal isn't the easiest way to create a new file in a folder, especially when it's like JSON and there's all this stuff here. Although if I had to do it all in the terminal, I would probably use a touch command to create this file. Cool. Let's do the more user visual. Let's use the more visual route. Okay, Cursor, come on. Come on, Cursor, don't be shy. Come on, Cursor. Hey, and fun fact, I'm actually on the free plan now on Cursor. Isn't that so cracked? I used to have a pro plan for Cursor, and I decided, you know what? Let's just try use only Claude Code and see whether or not that's gonna force me to become a better Claude Code user. It's so random, but it's so true. I'm gonna open up our tmops folder from here. Open. Nancy in the chat says one less subscription. You're so right. I am going to pressure the rest of the team to cancel their subscriptions that they're not going to use by the end of this project. So that's very topical today, Nancy. Okay, so create a new file called subscriptions.json. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to create a new file called subscriptions and paste that here. And then I'm going to press Command S on my keyboard to save that. Roy says, I use them all. I can't give up Cursor. It's so good. I know. I know. I was actually, I think, the one person in the whole team that prefers Cursor over Claude Code. And I feel like I'm betraying the team for even revealing that in the live. But because the whole team is like really all in on Claude Code right now and Claude skills, I'm like, all right, I'm going to join this. Join this rising tide towards Claude Code instead. Okay, so we've saved it already because I pressed Command S on my keyboard, and we're going to create a new docs folder. So it's telling me to use this command to create the docs folder, but honestly, now that we've got Cursor open, I'm going to go the more easy route. I'm going to give our screen, whoa, apologies, guys. I accidentally duplicated this setup when I only needed to split these two tabs. I cannot see, separate tabs. Okay. I'm just going to make this easier by only having the project guide on one side and then the instruction, my cursor set up on the other side. And here we're going to create a folder. There's this folder button here that I'm going to use to create the folder called Docs. And then we're going to create internal documents under this folder. So under Docs, I'm going to create a new document. Okay, this document is called onboarding guide.md. So onboarding guide, which is going to be a markdown file. And there's already some content that's been prepared for me. Awesome, thank you. We'll save that. And then a new one called sourcing playbook. Another markdown file. Copy that over. And the content of these docs aren't so important. And what's most important is the fact that we're going to use these agent loops to actually check the freshness of these later on. So now we're going to create another new file called outreach templates. Okay, and save that. Cool. Great. So confirm all 3 docs were created by running this command. If you want to do this, you can. You totally can. You can go into your terminal and you can run ls docs / and it gives you the names of the 3 files that it can find. Oh dear. In our case, it's the 3 files we just created here: onboarding guide, outreach templates, and sourcing playbook. So I'm glad to see that they're all created nicely. Nice. So what data did you seed into your repo, and why does Claude need structured data to perform useful audits? Whoa. Interesting. So we added, what did we just do? We added 4 documents to our repository because Claude Code needs I would say, the raw data in order to perform its automated workflows in the next few steps. And then the structured data point is very interesting. Did we talk about this here? Did we talk about why we need structured data? I don't believe so. I don't believe we have actually made it very clear why we need structured data. But we can explain some context anyway. So the data is structured in that every internal document is inside a subfolder titled Docs, and the subscriptions data is within a JSON file I feel like we can just explain that because Claude will be performing audits programmatically, it's useful when the data is structured consistently. So that the work is very repeatable. All right, well done. Okay, in the meantime, I can see that Roy says, my 20x Claude Max is as good as a $60 Cursor subscription. Ooh, good take. They balance each other out. I really do like Cursor's interface, and I do feel like Cursor creates great suggestions. So I have to agree. Jaden is here. It's kind of Vito is here, and Nikhil as well. Good to see you all. Awesome. Nikhil, you might notice I tagged you in a comment just now because there were some very interesting takes from Roger Oliver on um, cybersecurity tools. I thought you might find that interesting. Okay, the last thing that we're going to do for this step is a Claude Markdown file because that is a file that Claude Code will refer to whenever it is responding to prompts for you. In a more technical sense, it reads it at the start of every session. That is how we're going to basically save a lot of time in giving Claude Code a certain kind of behavior that is definitely going to repeat every single time it runs itself. So let's create that new file inside the root of our team ops folder. So make sure that this file is not a document within this folder called docs. It's actually a file that exists outside of that folder, and we're going to call it claude.markdown like this, and we just paste that in here. Awesome. So the rules for automated routines sets boundaries. It tells Claude to create issues instead of committing changes. It defines what counts as an urgent renewal versus an upcoming one, and specifies how to handle unowned subscriptions. So really interesting rules on how to respond to certain situations. Love that. Okay, very useful. Cool, we've saved all of this, so we're going to commit and push our work now. So I'm going to pull up the terminal, Command J, and run these 3 commands that basically saves all of our work into our GitHub repository. So let's run these commands. Oh, so easy. I think if I were to visit my repository in GitHub, you should see all that work in here now. Okay, so I'm going to press refresh. Bam, just like that, the documents we wrote, Claude Markdown and README are all in our GitHub repository, which is really good to see. Basically, as a recap, for anyone that's new to like these kinds of Git commands, what we did by adding, committing, and pushing is basically saving the changes that we wrote locally with cursor and then pushing them into our repository in GitHub, and now it's saved in the cloud, which is really useful. I think that wraps up step 1. So I'm going to just double check that. It does. Okay. So let's verify that we can see all of the new content in our repositories file list, which we just did. And I think the question beneath that asked us to take a screenshot as proof. So let's do that. So I'm going to take a screenshot over here and put that into our documentation. So let's paste that in here. Cool. And click done. Okay, awesome. So let's view our work. Hey, look at that. So good to see our documentation updating live already. The screenshot I just put is now in here in my documentation. In fact, if you were to revisit my project documentation, you might see all my work already. So cool. And I'm just going to put that link in the chat again. All right. And I think I just saw Maya pop in a second ago. So shout out Maya for being here. Okay, cool. Okay, that was step 1 done. How does everyone feel about that? Did that feel very straightforward, or was that a little bit confusing? I would love to hear your take on it. But what we've just done is like basically the groundwork, the documentation. We're about to layer onto that by creating our automations. So the first one is that we should be able to autonomously see which subscriptions are about to renew. So let's have a look at how we can do that in this next step. So a cron loop is basically a loop that runs on a fixed schedule. In this case, once a week is going to be the schedule that we're going to use for our subscriptions audit. And I think the next loop we're going to do in the next step is triggered a different way. So we'll see how that works later on. So in this step, we're going to create that routine using Claude AI's routines feature. and then we're going to write a prompt that performs that audit for us, and then see whether or not it fully worked by trying this out in our repository. Okay. Oh, a little shake. So in this step, we're creating a routine that checks for subscriptions that are about to renew, and let's actually be very clear that we're creating a Claude routine for this. This will be a cron job so that it can run weekly. And I think that's all we need to say, honestly. Let's get into it. So Claude Code routines live on this routines link. We did see that preview just now when we wanted to check if it existed. And very luckily, it does exist. Phew, thank goodness. I think it was here. Yeah, so I just paste the link into my browser. We can see that it exists. Hooray. And let's actually open this as a split once again. Okay, so our first step is we're going to sign in with our Claude Max subscription. I can see that I'm already signed in because it refers to my name and my subscription. So we're going to go straight to creating a new routine. So I'm going to click on new routine like this. And in the name field, type weekly subscription audit. Under select repositories, find and select your team ops repository. Okay. Well, I don't see a repository field over here. So maybe what we need to do is add a connector. Oh, no. It says here, select a repository. Okay. Select a repo. Can we find team ops like this? No, we can't. Looks like we aren't connected to GitHub yet from here. So we're gonna need to figure out how we can connect to GitHub. So shall we try to connect to GitHub by looking at maybe our settings page? Maybe that's where the connection to GitHub exists. What do we think? GitHub integration. I will use that. Let's connect. I think we're on the track, which is good. Yeah, I think that's how we can do that. Oh, just like that. I didn't even need to log in or anything anymore. We've already connected. So I was going to say let's just use team ops, but it doesn't look like it says the repo is found. What's going on? Let's go back to our connectors. We are connected to GitHub, but we can't find the team ops repo from here. I'm not too worried. I wonder if it's because I actually just needed to type. There's two things I'm thinking of. It could be that team ops needs to be public for it to show. Yeah, it could be. Is that why? Is it because I made a private repo? It's not showing up. Could it also be maybe we need to GitHub apps? No. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is change the visibility to public. I don't know. I don't feel like that's going to be the reason why, but it's always good to try. Change it to public. That could be why. is this not showing? Can't seem to log in. Can I log in? All right. I think we can log in now. Aw. Hey. Let's try changing this to public one more time. Come on, let's change this to public. Okay, come on, use passkey. Hey, sign in. All right, I've just changed this to public. Let's see if that's what it took. That's what it takes. Come back. For us to find our team ops repository from here. What do we think? It's showing now. Team ops repository is now visible. We can actually find it and click on it. I guess visibility really is important in order for us to create routines with it. Interesting trade-off. There must be different ways to actually give visibility, but for now, I'll take that as our win, and we'll charge ahead. Yeah. Roy in the chat says you need a GitHub token connection for private repositories. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. And let's write the prompt for the routine. The routine prompt is that we're going to read that subscriptions JSON file, which, if we want a reminder, it's the file that's here that lists out basically all of our subscriptions, the owner of it, and the status. So our instructions is to identify any subscriptions with a renewal date within the next 30 days and flag them within 7 days as urgent renewal. Okay, that looks good to me. It looks like we will create a GitHub issue if there are any subscriptions that are about to renew, and it should tell us how many subscriptions are about to be renewed in the next 30 days, how many are about to be renewed in 7 days. I love that. So let's copy that and paste those instructions in here. Okay, and the next thing is we're going to select a trigger, and you can use multiple triggers, but we're going to use schedule because it's a cron job, which means there's a specific time and date that it should be running. We want it to run weekly. Okay, so weekly like this at 9 a.m. on Monday. Let's do that. So we can just click create like this, and we should be done. I don't think we need Excalibur as a connector. Heads up, I'm just going to edit this. It says connectors, Excalibur, which is a whiteboarding tool. I don't think we need that tool to run this, so I'm just going to take away Excalibur and save that again. Okay, so let's try running it now to start a run immediately. I like that you can even run them straight away, so you can check if it's even working the way we want it to. So let's run it now. Okay, wait for the run to complete. This usually takes 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, and then click the run in the list to open the session and review what Claude did. Okay, let's click on the run. Ooh, so this is now a live view of the run itself. Looks like it's running. Is it? It just says, let me search for Git. Oh. Did it just update itself, or was that me? Might have been me. Oh, okay. It's still running. Look, there's an update. I think I overreacted there. Sorry, guys. But it's read subscriptions.json in our repository. That's great. And it has all the data, and it's about to create a GitHub issue, I believe, to alarm us for any subscriptions that are about to renew. Whoa, look at that. It has a list. It can tell which subscriptions are renewing in 5, 7, 11 days, 25 days. And it's now trying to write that GitHub issue. Although it looks like we're seeing live that there is an error happening where we can't seem to write this issue. It looks like maybe there's a permissions issue with creating GitHub issues. If you're new to the term GitHub issues, by the way, you might see issues are basically how people can log certain kinds of to-dos or problems about a repository. It's very useful for collaboration because if anyone ever sees that there's a bug or there's something to be solved in a repository, they can actually create an issue for it. And it's very useful in open source tools because if you're just a user, a consumer of a tool, and you see that there's an issue, there's a bug, you can use that as a way to kind of almost alert the creators of that tool to be like, hey guys, I'm using this open source tool that you've created and put out into the world. I'm using it for free. But by the way, I've run into this error, or by the way, this feature doesn't work. By the way, can you please add this to your tool? And once you create the issue, the creator of the tool can see like, oh, someone's requesting something from me. And they can use the issue almost as a thread of keeping you up to date on the progress for resolving it. So it's a very smart way of using issues, what we're about to do. Because what we're about to do is our Claude agent is using that feature in GitHub to alarm us about subscriptions that are about to renew. So I love that creativity and how we're using issues because, yeah, we're not like trying to resolve any sort of code inside our code base, but it definitely does the job. Now I'm going to get notifications via issues on whether a subscription is about to renew. Okay, so it looks like the issue has been written in the chat. This is what we need to, this is what should happen. This is a great summary, by the way, of subscriptions that are about to renew, and we need to jump on this very fast. But we need to fix the GitHub integration permissions because these issues can't be created right now. You can see something's broken. Okay, it says, if you don't see a GitHub issue, that's us. Common causes is the connection may not have permission to create issues. How can we solve this? Maybe one thing we can look at is the settings for this repository and seeing whether or not there are any permissions that are blocking people from creating issues. I mean, I don't think there's anything blocking issues right now. What do we think? Advanced security? I feel like that's a little bit like dramatic, not gonna lie. No, we don't. We don't do it here. Maybe agents? I don't think so. GitHub apps? It wasn't here. Maybe it's in Claude itself? Connectors. Manage connectors. Let's just go back to seeing whether or not our GitHub integration. Maybe our GitHub integration actually can't create issues yet. What do we think? Okay, I'm gonna do a quick search to find whether or not. What do you think? I like that I can just click on this and it populated a prompt in the chat to troubleshoot this. That's exactly what I am doing. Roy says, love the background, just noticed it. Yeah, thanks. I mean, while we're waiting, why don't we have some fun? And I just used this background for the first time today, so I really appreciate you commenting on it. Look, there are a couple of background options for us. So we can go for this one. I quite like it. It's like a city night kind of vibe. There's this like mushroom universe kind of vibe, waterfall universe kind of vibe. What do we like? Oh, this is the proper mushroom universe. It's kind of suits the clothes here. Um, this is Maya's, I think. I think this is Maya's favorite background, the aurora night sky. This one is inspired by Wellington. So Amber created this background because it reminds us of the Wellington kind of scenery. This one's cool too, eh? What do you think? There's quite a few backgrounds. Ooh, I like when you're in the middle, you're really like framed. It's kind of cool. Oh no, this is Maya's background. This is Maya's background, the field, the night sky field. And then this is my usual favorite. You know, it's like a little gemstone cave vibe. Um, yeah, all these are nice, eh? City night. Okay. Awesome. Back into it. It's kind of Vito says bro locked in. That's funny. Jaden says issues are public. Oh, issues are public. I wonder why we can't write issues. Okay. Hmm. It's still not clear to me how we can check whether or not GitHub has whether Claude has write access to GitHub right now. You know, it would be nice if there was an easy way to check this. And currently there isn't. And I thought we could by looking at GitHub like this, but we can't. I think we are running into a permissions issue, but maybe I should just take the advice of the ask here, which says that we should look at the whole transcript for the session. And it says the GitHub integration token doesn't have issues write permission. It is going to be a permissions issue, I think. Jaden says I can issue one right now. I actually want to see Jaden write an issue though. Do you think we can do that, Jaden? Would you be up for the task? Because I can give you the link to Team Ops, and I'd love to see you submit an issue. Hold on. If I give you the link to Team Ops, would you be happy to write an issue in here? What about you, Roy? Or Nancy? Would anyone be up for writing an issue in Team Ops? That would be quite fun. You can just write hi. Yeah, I wonder why we can't create issues though. Why we can't use Claude to create issues? Maybe we do need to go into Claude AI itself instead of, what do we think? Instead of Claude AI / code? Maybe that's what needs to happen. I don't know. I am. Maybe this is where, Because no, it's not. Because it's the same screen. Oh, and Jaden, thank you so much for sharing. Jaden shares a link in the chat. Thanks, Jaden. For configuring settings. And there is a GitHub app for Claude. And this basically means this is how we can configure settings and like Claude's permissions in GitHub. I was thinking this could be a nice like backup. And it looks like I think it you're completely right. Maybe we should use this instead. So what I'm going to do now is use the special settings page to try configure write permissions for issues for our repo, which is team ops. So let's see. Claude is even requesting an update to its permissions. It's kind of scary, but let's see what the request is. Read-only access to commit statuses, to members, to webhooks. There is a read and write access to issues, which is quite interesting. Maybe repository access, I should update it to team ops though, so that I can do that in team ops. And connect to GitHub one more time. What do we think? I hope this works. I really do hope it works. I think that worked. I think that worked, but we will have to double check this. We'll have to double check whether or not that app was useful for the GitHub integration. Let's see, guys. Let's try test it out and see if that worked. Okay. The only way to test it is to ask it to try write that issue one more time. Okay. And let's see if it works. And I wonder if the app is how you configure permissions between routines specifically and GitHub. I think it worked. Did you see that? It just used the tool issue write. Oh, it might have just issue created successfully. Oh my God, Jaden, you did it. Jaden, updating the setting inside apps worked. I think we did it, team. Let's go. An issue was created. Wow. What a relief, guys. I'm so happy to see it work. And you can see TLDR, upcoming renewals 4, urgent renewals 2, unowned tools. Whoa, 2 subscriptions. And you can even checklist and tick off any urgent renewals that you might want to cancel or just confirm. Hey, not too shabby, guys. But I like that there are 2 issues, which means someone else must have written one. Jaden wrote hi. Oh my God. Hello. Thanks for jumping into the repo and writing an issue. Isn't it so cool? Like, I love that Jaden can just create an issue and just say, hey, here's how you can improve your work. Or like, here's a request that I have for your app. Wow, I love that. That's so cool. And the cool thing is, actually, you see how issues have statuses? Once I have reviewed this and I think I have canceled all the subscriptions I needed to cancel, I can type here, cancel the following subscriptions, and then write them out, like linear, for example. and then I can like just close that with a comment. And now we can say it's closed. The issue no longer is active. It's closed now. So status closed. It's been reviewed. So what a great progress tracker. Okay, well, I'm very happy with the work there. So that's 2 steps down, I think. We just need to take a screenshot of the issue itself and then add that to our documentation. Wow, but that was amazing just to see it like see that permission setting like resolve itself. Thank you again to Jaden for your help. And let's answer this. The question is, what makes a routine prompt different from a regular Claude prompt? What do we think? I kind of wish this question was right underneath after we wrote the prompt itself, but that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. A routine prompt needs to be a set of instructions that is not overly specific to a date range, specific tool, subscription, people, costs, for example, because the routine runs every week and the context can change weekly. So it needs to be generic enough. It needs to be generic enough that the prompt can be triggered at any point in time. The instructions also need to be like a detailed manual or run sheet, so it can be followed by a Claude agent without needing to provide any other follow-up details. Whereas a regular Claude prompt is in a conversation, so details can be clarified over a chat. Okay. Nice. So our first agent loop is live. It's going to run this every Monday at 9 a.m. now. So quite like that. It's just going to be doing all of this automatically from here. Awesome. Okay. Next thing is we're going to build a sub-agent routine. So this routine introduces a more powerful pattern. Instead of one agent doing all the work, our documentation freshness checker will use sub-agent delegation. The main agent, oh, sorry. 1 second, team. Just going to quickly open the door. 1 second. Shall I play some waiting music? All right, we back. So I'm quite excited for this because a new pattern is about to form. It is going to be a sub-agent delegation. So there's a main agent that spawns separate sub-agents for each document. This is cool because I've seen these kind of patterns before where there's like a main agent that's kind of the orchestrator, and that means the orchestrator is kind of like this like big manager boss kind of thing, and it will assess a situation and decide based on the situation, here are the sub-agents that I will spawn to do like little bits of tasks. So the manager goes, I'm going to spawn a freshness checker agent to check document A, and I'm going to spawn another agent to check document B, and then I'm going to spawn another agent to check document C, and I'll let all of these agents do that piece of work for me, and they're all going to come back and report back. And based on the results, I might spawn new agents to update documents for me. So I'm quite excited to see how we might use sub-agent delegation for this situation. And a fun fact for you is that we actually use sub-agents in the generation process. You know how we generated a project from scratch? How we generate projects is that we actually have sub-agents for different parts of the process. We've got our kind of like our main agent, which is a generator agent that's got a clear goal. I want to turn someone's prompt into a project, and it spawns sub-agents to complete that goal. It would say, hey, research agent, you're going to go and research what are routines. Comes back with the results. Okay, cool. Hey, like separate agent, I want you to go and analyze that podcast episode that Nat just uploaded and come back with the results. And it goes and spawns that. And once it gets those results, it's responsible for saying, okay, based on all of this data, I'm going to spawn more sub-agents that's responsible for, let's say, creating 3 different project ideas for me. Come back, I decide which ones are the best ideas, pick those, and then spawns more sub-agents dedicated to generating the project from scratch. So we actually use that model ourselves for our project generation engine. So it's quite nice that for this project, we get to actually do a mini version of that. Okay, so in this step, we're building a new sub-agent routine so that we can have a main agent spawn separate sub-agents for documents that we want to review. Okay, and the reason why sub-agents are so useful is because it really speeds up the process for us. If a single agent was responsible for doing all of those tasks, it's probably going to be overwhelmed with all of the context. And it's probably going to do this slower because sub-agents, things can happen in parallel. A sub-agent routine helps to prevent context overload and also helps to parallelize tasks, which in turn speeds things up for us. Speeds up task completion. Okay, so we're going to head back to Claude AI routines. It should be right here. Okay, so we've got our routine here. All right. We've got our routine here, and we're going to create a new one. This one is going to be our documentation freshness checker. It's going to be associated with the same repository, our team ops repo. And then in the prompt, we are now using the sub-agent pattern. Oh, we literally in the prompt says, use a sub-agent. Each sub-agent should read one document in full and check for outdated dates, broken or suspicious links, references to deprecated tools. Interesting. So we're going to paste that in here. Okay. And now that it's been written, in the trigger section, we're going to select schedule. Okay, so this one is still a cron job. It's just an advanced cron job. It's still a cron job because it is still happening at a very specific time. It's happening every Friday at 2 p.m. Okay. And it doesn't need any of these connectors, so I'm just going to remove all of these. And we're going to create that. Okay, cool. Aw, come on, team. I just deleted these connectors, so we don't really need these. So I'm going to just delete all these connectors. The reason why it's good practice to remove connectors you don't need is because connectors literally connect your agent to all of the data you have in those tools. So if you technically don't need that tool's data in order to do the job, you don't need to give that agent permission to it. Probably keeps your data more secure. So we've created our prompt now. Looks good. It's basically saying that this routine is going to actually use a sub-agent for every single document in your folder. And you might remember we've got more than one document. We've got 3 documents in our folder. So this ideally should spawn 3 sub-agents, one for each document. And each sub-agent is going to be responsible for following these steps. After all sub-agents report back, we're going to consolidate their findings into a single GitHub issue. So we're going to be writing GitHub issues again. Okay, well, let's try running this now and seeing how it does. Let's click on the run. Let's have a look. Well, I'm going to be very curious to see whether or not we can see within the run that sub-agents respond. This is cool. Okay. If it worked, then we should be able to see a GitHub issue getting created in the Issues tab again. Okay, cool. And then we should take a photo of our issues as well as the sub-agent pattern. Okay. Let's see. All right, in the meantime, let's check in on the chat. It's been a little while, guys. Really appreciate all the love in the chat when we got the issue getting created. Thank you, Roy and Nancy. We've got Roger also blasting it with some really cool ideas on how you use Hermes. That looks wonderful. Would you ever be up for doing a live stage where you're showcasing your work? And then we've got a new person in the chat. Koshe? Is it pronounced Koshe? Koshe says, which project should I build to pursue AWS security engineer, as I'm known to cloud cybersecurity, and you're working as a SOC analyst right now. Oh, wonderful. Who else was mentioning SOC analyst? I feel like someone else had actually said something about this earlier today. Was it Roger Oliver? Or, oh no, it's DXJ. DXJ has left the chat now, but that's cool. Yeah, in the meantime, Jaden has a great suggestion on our security engineer roadmap. It does have some great recommendations. Awesome. Thank you, Jaden. Cool. It looks like there's been a GitHub issue created called Documentation Freshness Review. Okay. It's been created. Let's have a look. Nice. Issues have been created now, and it says 3 docs reviewed, 10 issues found, needs attention. My goodness, that is some dramatic language for 3 documents. Missing tools, sourcing sections don't name high or easy. I actually really like these suggestions. It's actually reviewed the onboarding guide and say, hey, by the way, in your tool section, you didn't include these tools that you're actually paying for right now. You should include this in your onboarding document. And like the way that we source did not name Hire Easy, which is another tool that we're currently paying for, because that Hire Easy was in our subscriptions document. And then in the sourcing playbook, there was now GitHub and Stack Overflow listed as sourcing channels, but neither of them are subscriptions we actually pay for. So we're being asked, hey, are these free channels? If so, then your doc should mention that. Otherwise, if you actually need to pay to use it, we aren't paying for these tools, then they shouldn't exist in your document. I'm so impressed. I really like the way that a lot of the work is being cross-checked with our subscriptions file. Because initially I thought, why are we using a single repository for both our internal documents as well as our subscriptions? But if the purpose of these documents is to make sure we have all of the correct subscriptions in there, it's doing a really good job of cross-checking them. So I'm very impressed with its ability to do that. And then for our outreach template, there's a genuine critique on the quality of these templates, which I quite like. There's even a little checklist on what's most urgent and what's low priority. Okay, documentation freshness review. You've done a good job. You've done a very good job. This is cool. Can I take a screenshot of this checklist? Because I like this a lot. I think this is cool. Let's do this. Question: how does the sub-agent pattern keep the main agent's context lean compared to a single agent reading all the documents itself? The sub-agent pattern works by spawning sub-agents to review each document in our repo in parallel, which means the main agent does not need to review all the documents in a single session. This saves time. And keeping the main agent's context lean is likely useful for cost savings too. Yeah, because I mean, one thing that's quite important when you're designing agents and when you're using AI in general is that the cost of using AI really just ramps up the more tokens and the more context you give it. So there's a very good chance that if you give your main agent very, very lean context, like the instructions are very thin and it doesn't need to read so many documents, that's actually more cost efficient compared to having sub-agents that are all taking on the documents separately. At the end of the day, these documents are still being consumed, but it is likely that if a single agent has to consume all of the documents and still remember all of the information every single time it's running the next step, that will cost more than a single agent that does it just once, gives the result to the main agent, and then goes to sleep. So that's something I'm thinking could be useful here. So I've added that to my answer too. Cool. Step 4. Iterate and refine your loops. Edit and rerun both routines with refined prompts. Update your subscription data to test edge cases and confirm your audit catches them. Okay, interesting. I appreciate that there's actually a space in the project to improve on your prompts and try to catch some edge cases. I think just project-wise and time-wise, I am noticing that we've got about 4 minutes left. So instead of working on iterating on these prompts and running these again, which I feel will have a certain kind of limit in terms of impact in the next 4 minutes. I'm going to prioritize making sure we actually get to try the secret mission today, because this seems new and cool, like connecting to Slack for live notifications. Because it's true, I don't really go and check GitHub issues as a part of my routine. I'd rather be given a message if there's been a new issue, and I get notified like, hey, I get a message that says, hey, you should check this out. So let's see if we can wire up the Slack connector. I hope it's quite easy, but let's have a look. All we got to do is in Claude, let's go and check out our settings and click on connectors on the sidebar. I have a feeling it might be here. Okay, and then let's create a new one. Let's add, and under browse connectors, let's find Slack. Let's add that. Connect. Okay, and then we're going to update our Claude Markdown file with Slack notification rules. Oh, okay. The workspace I want to connect to is probably the NextWork team workspace. Okay, and allow that. Okay, cool. So now we've already connected Claude Code to Slack. That was pretty easy. And what we're going to do next is actually go back into our repository and tell our repository that we actually have instructions now for sending updates over Slack. In our Claude Markdown file, we're going to add the following section to the bottom of the file. Okay, so let's find the bottom of the file, and let's add this in here. All right, so Slack notifications. I'd imagine we're going to need to save and push our changes. Okay, so we're going to go in here and make sure we run these commands to save and push our changes. Okay, and now that it's pushed, let's go and just double check that these changes are in here now. So in our Claude Markdown file, you should see that there's been a change now ago, very recently. And if you go down to the bottom, you can see there's now a section about Slack notifications. So nice to double check and verify that our changes are now in our GitHub repository. So because it's in our GitHub repository, now if we were to run our routine, it should ideally send a Slack message. So in the routine prompt, add an instruction at the end telling Claude to post a summary message to Team Ops Slack channel after creating the GitHub issue. Include what the Slack message should contain, monthly spend, number of urgent renewals this week, and the number of unknown issues. Tell Claude to keep it to under 5 lines and include a link to the GitHub issue. Okay, cool. So you know what? I'm going to use the Ask Chat to say, can you write that prompt for me? I think that should work. Okay, so while it's doing that, I think one thing I've noticed that I want to call out is it's saying that there is a Team Ops channel in Slack, which is not true. I don't have a Team Ops channel in my Slack, so it's probably about to, try send a message and then run into an error that the Team Ops channel doesn't exist. So in order to, prevent that issue, I'm going to create that channel in Slack, and then make sure that happens before we run this routine. Okay, so it's going to do that. Oh, sorry for all the jumping around, everyone. Let's find our instructions one more time. We're going to want to update the weekly subscription audit routine. So instead of documentation freshness checker, we actually want to update the subscription audit and edit that. Okay, and then add the instructions that says, after creating the GitHub issue, post a summary message to the team Slack channel and what the message should contain. Okay, so we're gonna save that. But I'm not gonna run it yet because we need to create that channel on Slack. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up Slack and just make sure that that channel actually exists before we ask Claude to start writing messages to it. So what I'll do, is I'll just open up Slack here. Okay, and create a new channel like this. And we're gonna call it Team Ops, like this. Next, private. Oh, maybe let's make it public so we don't run into more like permission issues. And head and try run our audit now that the channel exists. Okay, here we go. Okay. What do we think? Oh, we have we have a couple of people in YouTube right now asking if I'm live. Yes, I am live. Deep Dives or Varun says hi. Hello to you. Oh, a couple of messages in here. So sorry that I didn't see all of the activity happening in YouTube. But I wanted to say a big hi to everyone. 4K says say banana if it's live. Rajneesh says, oh, this is live? Green apple. Yes, I will say green apple. All right. Now that the GitHub issue is created, so we can see this run is successful for the GitHub issue. The new thing that we're wanting to test for is whether it can create a Slack message. Oh, okay. It says no Slack MCP integration was found in this environment. Oh. Guys, oh, it makes so much sense. I just realized I made a mistake this whole time. There's a reason why. I was so stubborn about not allowing any connectors that I didn't even connect Slack. And previously, I didn't even connect GitHub, and maybe that could be why we were having so many issues about creating issues. But let's actually make sure the GitHub connector is running. Oh my gosh. Because if it's not enabled, of course, it wouldn't be able to actually go into Slack and write a message. Yeah, I should have checked this. Scroll down to the connector section and confirm that Slack appears in the list. I did not do this step, and that is why the Slack message did not work. Oops, should have done that. Sorry about that, team. But in this run, it should work. In the chat right now, Roger Oliver and Cochet is having a good chat about all of the different security and cybersecurity projects we could be doing. So great conversation. Roger Oliver also says, I am shy. Yeah, I appreciate that. I know it is very, very hard putting yourself on a live stage. So all good. It sounds like you're having some great one-on-one chats in the meantime, which is also very good to see. So I think we have done it. Yo, look at that. Look at what's happening back. There's now a Slack message written by me. but it's written by sent using Claude. Here's our subscription audit and our monthly spend, urgent renewals. Man, if I actually use Slack for my day-to-day, this is going to be so useful. It's going to make me want to use Slack now. But it's good to see that I can even get messages from my routine that tells me about subscriptions I should know about. And this saves me the time of having to actually manually go and check my GitHub issues. So love the way that you can really use Claude in smart ways to automate work away from your own routines. So I'm going to take a screenshot of the Slack message as we wrap up. That was the last thing that we did for today's project. And Roy in the chat says, Nat, you're still going crazy. Yeah, we are going crazy. In this project extension, the Slack message contains, what does it contain? It contains our total monthly spend, the number of urgent renewals this week, and the number of unowned tools. Contains a summary of the issue, summary of our active subscriptions, specifically total monthly spend, number of urgent renewals this week, and number of unowned tools. While the GitHub issue contains a complete overview of all tools and their statuses, which is a lot more detail, i.e. the detailed format. Well done, everyone. I think that's a wrap. That was a lovely secret mission. I'm so glad. It just took a couple of minutes, and it was such a great addition to all of the work that our agents were already doing in our routines. So today, to clean up everything, if you want to keep everything running, you can keep everything running, but you can definitely delete everything to make sure that we're not, spending a lot of money. At the end of the day, even if you already have an existing subscription, this is going to take, tokens or context away from other routines that you could be setting up or other things that you want to do with your Claude subscription. So if you don't plan on continuing to use this, you're more than welcome to just delete the routines. Delete. Okay. And then you can also make sure to disconnect Slack to keep your Slack account safe if you decide you don't actually want to give Claude context. So you can go into your settings. You can head into your connectors and then find Slack connection to disconnect it now. Now you're keeping your tools safe. So well done. Last few things, we can delete our GitHub repository. I'm going to be really sad about deleting this repository though, because Jaden wrote such a cool issue in there, and I don't want to say bye to Jaden's issue. It was a very, very cool. It was a really cool moment seeing the crew actually add to this repository. Just to demonstrate, we will have to delete this repository today, but shout out Jaden today for all of your help. I don't think we could have resolved that error so smoothly without you here. So we're going to delete the repo. There's always so many checks like, are you sure from GitHub? But just go ahead and just be very confident. I am sure. And type in this in the box below to delete the repository. Okay, so the repository is gone now. And then we're going to go ahead and final thing, delete the folder from our locally. So I'm going to quit Cursor. So that's there's no active session in Cursor anymore. And then from here, I've just run the commands for deleting the team ops folder. So I think we've completely deleted this repository now. But if I ever want to, bring everything back, I can always do this project again. I can also, I think honestly just doing this project from scratch is probably how I'd do it. Probably the next time it'll be a lot faster. Okay, so as we wrap up, key tools we use today include Claude routines, Cursor, GitHub, and Slack. Key concepts we learned include, what did we learn? Today we learned We learned agent loops, routines. We learned cron jobs as well as subagent loops. Those are all very, very useful. I can find myself probably getting really deep into the weeds in this and probably creating a lot over the weekend. And this project took us approximately 2 hours. Oh, well, actually, after generating it, it took us about 1.5 hours. The most challenging part, 1.5 hours. The most challenging part was resolving the issue where our Claude routine didn't have permission to write a GitHub issue. Luckily, we resolved this by manually configuring Claude's permissions inside the Claude app in GitHub. Oh, not one more. We did this project today to learn how to use agent loops ourselves, inspired by Claire Vaux's How I AI podcast episode. Another skill we want to learn is how to create AI avatars, let's say, using Gemini Omni. That was another project idea that we could have gone down using Gemini Omni, or how to use Hermes, which was a popular request from Zach. All done. Oh my gosh. I think that's our project complete, everyone. So nice work. We've built autonomous agent loops today. We've learned how to create a weekly subscription audit loop, a cron loop, and there was a documentation freshness checker that taught us how to use sub-agent loops. And if you'd like to quiz yourself, we can totally take the quiz very quickly. In the subscription audit routine, what condition must be met to flag an entry with the label needs owner? Oh, this is when the subscription entry didn't have an owner field. This is all the way in step 1. How does a sub-agent pattern optimize the routine that we have for documentation freshness checking? It delegated individual document analysis to separate sub-agents, keeping the main agent's context lean. That's exactly what happened. And then when we debugged a routine run that completed with a green status, but it failed to create a GitHub issue, what is the most likely cause? It's probably the Claude Markdown file in the team's operations repo. Oh, a Claude Markdown file does provide persistent repo level rules, so that Claude code is always following those rules whenever it does the job. How should Slack notifications be configured? It can be configured by keeping messages under 5 lines. How should Slack notifications be configured? I think by keeping messages under 5 lines is what we were getting to. Nice, that's what we did. So we've mastered the quiz. Hey, yo. And then if you still want to check out my documentation, you can check it out here. I'm going to paste the live URL again here. And you know what? I'm going to share this in the community, of course. So I'm going to copy this. And thank you so much, Roy, for saying go net. Now I got to do a project. I'm getting hyped. Yeah, that's right. Do project number like 500 for Roy. Nancy says, yay, go net. Oh, Roy also says, I like Slack for agent work. Then you have another agent to take that info to create sub-actions. So many possibilities. Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to celebrations. Okay, new post. The title is just generated my own project on agent loops, inspired by Claire Vaux's How I AI podcast app on using agent loops, on creating agent loops. We used Claude code routines for this. Never used this tool before, so I found it very fun. Thanks to everyone that tuned in live and debugged errors with me. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. And then here's the post as well. I'm gonna make it my documentation, and I'm gonna go ahead and click post. Awesome. So now that that's all done, I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share now. Okay, but I did really want to say a big thank you to everyone for tuning in and catching up. I had really enjoyed this project. It's just so cool to see all the things you could create using the generator at NextWork. We purely, like truly, I did not know what I was going to be doing today. So the moment we started this live, I was like, all right, let's do this. But look at us now, 2 hours later, we've learned how to use agent loops. We've even created 2 of them. And it was all inspired by a podcast episode we came across in the very start of this session today. So shout out everyone for joining. I hope you enjoy creating your own project. Like we mentioned earlier, it is completely free to do it. So there's nothing else stopping us. If you ever get stuck, please let us know. We're right here. The community would love to help you out as well. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks again for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, everyone. See you.